Hi everyone, welcome back to part 2 of Lexicon Live, utilizing new law to optimize revenue. I'm excited to be here again today to continue our discussion and deliver even more ways you can optimize your law firm. A little bit about Lexicon. We are a holistic practice management and practice services company. We offer both legal support services that help you operate your firm more efficiently and a practice management package that helps you maximize the value of your firm and get the most out of your client relationships. We've been doing this for well over a decade. We've helped firms grow from 10 to well over 100 offices. And we now do Lexicon Live, this monthly webinar series where we share how to make your law firm more efficient with you. It's an opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about the practice of law as a business. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out in the chat. And one of our experts will get back to you. Let's go ahead and jump right in where we left off last month, adopting technology to help optimize revenue. You know, the world is living off of data and technology today, right? And so some things that your firm should really be considering: timekeeping. Definitely you should be using a timekeeping package of some kind. Love it to be Lexicon, but if it's not ours, I hope it's somebody's. Document management system. It helps you be more secure. It helps you organize your files in the cloud or in your server farm. And then you should be thinking about workflows and task management, data and quality, and how do you improve the information that you have so that you can make better decisions on behalf of your clients and on behalf of your firm. So if we think about timekeeping, if you improve the technology and you improve the efficiency of your timekeeping, which also means the accuracy, it actually leads to fewer client disputes and it leads to fewer bar complaints, right? And that's because when you bill somebody and it is very clear how much time you spent on a task, you can justify that the time you spent on that task and that you're billing for added value and is reasonable. And it's broken down into bite-sized increments, not big 4-hour time blocks. Clients are less likely to go through that bill with a fine-tooth comb and think that somehow you're trying to take advantage of them. You may have worked for 4 hours on that document, but clients, as we all know, will look at that and think, well, that seems like an awful long time to draft that thing, whether it's a deposition, whether it is a contract, whether it's reviewing emails. If instead your timekeeping system allows you to break it down into bite-sized chunks, you will see clients dispute fewer charges. It leads to faster payment, right? If you don't dispute it, you're more willing to pay. It leads to operational efficiencies for you because now you can enter your time in one place. There's no double handling of time between yourself and an administrative assistant. If you can put the time directly into a system, which is all going to drive to increased revenue, and all of it leads up to better business decisions that you can make for your firm. So outside of just the technology, what is it that can help you better maximize your timekeeping? First, track it in real time. The closer to real-time tracking that you have, the more accurate your bills are going to be. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but to the extent that your practice management software enables time tracking with a timer and prompts you to allocate that time into smaller increments, the more accurate your timekeeping will be, without question. You want to make sure that you track all your time, even for fixed fee matters. I can't tell you the number of attorneys we've spoken to who have a fixed fee matter type or a fixed fee practice area, and at some point they stopped tracking their time, probably because it was an administrative burden. But what I can tell you is you're leaving money on the table, you're losing the opportunity to adjust your prices up and make more margin potentially, or capture the actual cost going into that matter type, or even you're losing the opportunity to lower your prices and do more business and overall make more money. And last, you want to make sure you're tracking your write-offs and your write-downs, right? Even if they're not directly billable to the client, you want a full and complete picture of your financials for every matter, for every client. And the only way you can do that is with accurate timekeeping, accurate write-offs, accurate write-downs that are kept in the system and then allocated back to the matter and then the client. Attorneys in general don't track time in real time. this can result in up to a 20% swing in overbilling or underbilling, right? That's 30 to 40% of timekeeping inaccuracy. And that's just driven by the fact that the longer you wait to record your time, the less accurate your memory actually is. So if you wait a full week to record your time, you could be up to 50% lost revenue. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have forgotten to bill 50% of the hours. Part of the reason you get to 50% lost revenue is you underbill some things, you overbill others. No client has ever called you and said, you've underbilled me on this matter, please adjust the bill up. So if you've underbilled, you've eaten that. Clients will call you and say, I think you've overbilled me. Then you make a concession to keep the client happy. And now you've both lost time because you underbilled some things. The things you've overbilled, you've now cut back, and maybe you've cut back too far because you didn't have accurate timekeeping to justify your position. You open the door for that conversation with the client. If you record once every 24 hours, you could be at 25% inaccuracy, once a day at 10% inaccuracy. The best way to do it is as close to real time as possible, right? Fixed fee matters. Why does it matter? If you charge the $1,000 for a fixed fee type and you put a certain number of hours against it, depending on whether it's your hours or paralegal hours, what the billable rate is, what their wages are, at some point, you're putting more time against that matter than you've brought in. And you want to know that. If it's a one-off because you slightly underbid something, it was a slightly more complicated matter than you anticipated, that's fine. That happens. That's part of running a business. But how do you know that it's not happening regularly if you're not tracking your time against those fixed fee matters regularly? So if your system is easy to use, you won't find yourself in a position where you're potentially losing money on a particular matter type. And as we said before, the flip side could also be true. If you are dramatically overpriced on something, either you can enjoy the margin, nothing wrong with that, but you could consider lowering your pricing on that matter type. Potentially, the demand is elastic enough that you would actually see more customers coming in, and overall, your revenue and your profitability may increase. You can't tell unless you're tracking the time so you can analyze it. Right, so we've talked about it. Not tracking in real time basically means you're making bad decisions, right? You may have unhappy clients who are disputing bills, right? You don't understand how healthy your firm is fiscally, and you're probably losing revenue. Now let's switch to document management systems. Why would you want to use a document management system when Microsoft and Apple so kindly give you a word processor and spreadsheet functionality on your laptop or on your desktop? There's a lot of good reasons. First, the storage and filing, your ability to retrieve, very important. There's permissions that you can build in. There's the ability to share files and collaborate on those files. And then there's access no matter where you are, no matter what machine you're on. But the single most important reason, in my opinion, is security, right? If you are using a document management system, it prevents and makes it much harder for anybody to try to get into your data system and withdraw files with sensitive information on them. Law firms are regularly under attack from phishing attempts, from brute force hacking attempts. Why? Because the type of information that you have in your files about your customers is exactly the kind of information that hackers would love to have to understand where do they own property, what businesses are they affiliated with, what are the names of their children, what are the names of their parents, what are their birth dates, potentially what's their social security number. Law firms have a lot of sensitive information and you need to protect it. If there is a bad attack and you are impacted, you may have an ethical obligation to report that. You certainly need to tell your clients that their information's been compromised. You may need to go broader than that. And then what happens if the newspapers pick that up? What happens, and we've seen examples of that, very recently with large prestigious firms being hacked and having client data spread out across the internet. You don't want that to be your firm. And if they had been using a secure cloud-based document management system and practice management system, that wouldn't have happened. If you are hacked, people will lose confidence in your firm and you might get sued. And if you work in Europe, GDPR may kick in, right? If you work in California, there may be other fines and penalties that are going to be assessed against you. So if we really quickly look at the benefits of storage and filing, of being in a document management system that's in the cloud, you can save your documents up to the cloud. You can easily search for the right documents and for the information you're looking for. You can allow permission-based access to documents. So you could say these people or this group of people have access to these documents. These people don't. So you can actually contain who can see a document within the firm, right? It allows and enables automatic backups of documents. So if something happens, if there's a flood and your office is impacted, if there's a tornado, you lose your laptop, you lose your desktop, it's okay. Documents are up in the cloud. You can retrieve them from any machine with the right authentication, right? And then there's the ability to access. It's in the cloud. You can collaborate, cross-attorney collaboration, because it's all cloud-based. You can share documents, you can work on documents, go back and forth without sending them through email, which opens you up to interception and again, a potential hack that you obviously don't want to have. Permission-based, again, you can control who has access to what documents. They can be encrypted. They're archived if they're no longer active. Put them one additional layer deeper in the hierarchy, harder to get to. Auto backup. It allows for file sharing with clients, again, without sending an email. You can actually send a secure link to a client, enable an e-signature. That document doesn't ever have to leave your secure environment if you send it to a client. That may lead to faster payments, right? Because clients are getting their documents faster. They feel like they've got a little more control. And it enables for easy preparation for trial folders. And then from an access perspective, again, everything's in one place. You're not hunting and pecking through 5 different laptops or PCs to find the files you're looking for. It's organized in a file structure, type of folder, matter, client, and it's very easy to find what you need. It allows you to automate document approval, create audit trails so you know exactly who went into what document and changed what when. You can send alerts to each other about things that are going to have to be done to that document. This document is still pending signature. This document needs to be checked back in. And again, it's cloud-based. So if you didn't bring your work laptop with you and you need to pull a file quickly while you're on vacation, you could open that up from any device that's got internet access as long as you've got the right permissions. Now let's talk a little bit about KPIs, right? Why would you want to align around your metrics that you're going to agree to with your clients, right? So at the end of the day, client satisfaction is really about delivering on the promises that you've made to your clients from a timing perspective, from setting expectations properly on the outcome of the case or the matter, and from what you communicate, right? And so client satisfaction means more revenue for you, for the firm. And you can look at it both internally and externally, right? So internally, you could have metrics around work allocation, for example. What things should be handled by a partner, by an associate, by a paralegal, right? How many billable hours should we expect to have? What should my client realization be? And it's going to help you substantiate your fees down the road because you'll fully be able to see who's working on what is their hourly rate, and is that appropriate work for a person at that level to be doing, right? And then if you look at quality in general, right now, the legal industry is behind a lot of other industries. There is no legal industry standard definition of quality metrics or a quality system. And experts will tell you that there is a revolution needed and coming in the legal industry because more and more firms are realizing that a quality system is necessary for them to deliver on their brand promise and to provide consistent service to their customers. So why would you want to implement a quality system? Consistency. Consistency is pretty easy when you're a single office. It's a little harder when you're multiple offices. It's very hard when you're hundreds of offices, right? So building a process that all of the associates in your firm follow, building a process around how do you process and issue a bill, All of those things need to be repeatable and reliable so that your client always understands, what is being done in their matter. And it doesn't matter whether they're working out of the Santa Monica office or the London office, they're seeing the same types of steps being performed by your firm. They're getting the same communication from your attorneys. That is going to drive client satisfaction and is going to eliminate some of the noise you hear around clients saying that they're not hearing anything from their lawyers. So they assume nothing is happening, right? It is absolutely essential if you want to establish a brand that you follow uniform policies and procedures, right? Some of the things that we'd recommend are, how often should your attorneys by type of matter be communicating to their clients, and what type of information should they communicate at certain milestones? You should have that mapped out. You should have an understanding of that. You should also think about getting direct feedback from your customers. That doesn't mean that you need to survey 100% of your customers 10 times through their journey with you, but you should think about a statistically valid sampling technique to get feedback from your clients at different key points throughout the process. Let your clients tell you how they feel. Let your clients give you some guidance about what could you do to improve their level of satisfaction. It also will help you when it comes to regulatory issues. If somebody issues a bar complaint, but you can demonstrate you have a process that you follow, that you did follow the process, that you respond to customer complaints, those things all help in a bar complaint. It also ensures that you have a complete set of documents on every matter to the extent that that's needed. And it definitely, again, drives client expectations go up, client satisfaction goes up. If you sit down with them and explain, we can never guarantee the outcome of this case, but we can tell you these are the likely steps that we'll go through. We can tell you that we think it is likely that you end up in this range in a settlement, or as a result of going to trial. And these are the times that I will commit to communicating to you, whether that's every 2 weeks, whether it's when I hit certain milestones. If you set that expectation up front, right, and then you live by it, client satisfaction will go up and it will enhance your firm's brand, right? And it's not about punishing people for failing to meet expectations. It's really about this notion of building a continuous improvement around your processes. What is it that the client is looking for? How do you deliver that? Making sure that firm leadership is bought in, that you're measuring the right things to get to client satisfaction, and then taking that feedback from the clients and redefining your processes to improve the efficiency, make sure that you're delivering on the client expectation. The other thing you may want to consider is actually auditing what your attorneys send to the clients. Do they live up to the expectations that you've set? Are they communicating in a timely manner on the schedule that's been agreed upon? Are they sending material information that actually is informative? Or are they just sending a letter saying, hey, I worked on your matter again this week. You'll hear from me in a month. Those also, combined with client surveys, will really give you both a early warning system on how well your firm is meeting client needs, and then actual voice of customer after the fact feedback from your clients on what you can improve. The goal is to improve the process, not punish people for failing, right? You want to make sure you understand your workflows. Who does what? Who owns what decisions? And then you want to start looking at, are there opportunities to automate this? Whether that means using a task manager built within your practice management system, or maybe outsourcing it to an expert because it's now a simple API feed, let them handle it and then hand something back to your firm. It all comes down to what drives client satisfaction for your firm, for your practice areas, and then figuring out how to deliver that seamlessly and repeatedly, right? Measure so you know you're delivering. And again, you don't need to sample everybody. You don't need to survey every client. Do a random sample, get representative feedback. That's enough so you're not burning your clients out with over surveying. We're all tired of getting a survey for every minuscule action you do with any provider. So you can do it in a way that's not invasive. So why would you want to have a client-centric approach to practice management, right? Favorable first impression. You want to be able to talk about the fact that you are a client-centric firm. You want to be able to tell them you have a quality system in place that's going to help them through the journey, that you have a team of support people ready to help them if they have questions or concerns that come up. It's going to help you retain clients. It's going to help you build a brand. And it's going to help you demonstrate the value of your firm. Maybe you do want to charge a little bit of a price premium. One way you get there is by assuring customers your value is worth it. It's going to help you in the market. It's going to help you drive that reputation. It should drive a good work environment. Employees, whether they're attorneys or staff, don't like not knowing who owns what piece of a process. And if you have to reinvent a process every time, that leads to morale issues. So having a documented, established process for how you do the things you do regularly will improve morale. It will increase your collection rate. Again, you'll have the right level of information in your invoices. Clients will understand where they are. They've gotten regular updates from you, and they're less inclined to be angry. That's going to then lead to referral business coming in the door for you. Happy customers tell their friends. Unhappy customers tell their friends. You'd much rather have the happy customers talking about you than somebody that you failed to please because you didn't communicate properly, because you didn't answer the phone on time, or you missed some other simple opportunity to delight them instead of disappoint them. So obviously you could do this yourself. However, there is some expertise that's required to properly map out your process workflows and ensure that you're building a consistent, repeatable process. It also takes a little bit of skill to set up a survey, especially a client-facing survey, that doesn't lead the client to an answer that you're sort of hoping you're going to get. You want to design a survey that actually gets clients to tell you how they feel. You don't want to lead them to tell you the things that make you feel good. You actually want them to tell you the things that make you a little uncomfortable. It's great to hear where you're doing well. It's also good to hear where you could improve. And so all of these things do require some expertise. You might want to think about reaching out to a quality consultant who could help you design a continuous improvement approach for your law firm. It is something that Lexicon does. Lots of other people do it too. We've just done a lot in the legal space. Right? So if we look at total realization, it's another opportunity for firms to really think about your collections. Right? And so basically total realization is the flow of funds from the value that you've billed, your WIP, as it moves from WIP into bills issued. How much did you actually get from the WIP that you did into that bill that you've issued? And then how much of that do you actually collect from the client? And you want to time box that within a period of time. And so in this example, you've got a firm who's sort of had death by 1,000 paper cuts, and they've lost about 11% of their overall value. But if you really want to understand total realization, there are some things that I think attorneys in general don't always think about when it comes to how well am I collecting. So in this example, in December of 2019, somebody billed 5,000. They did it again in January. They did it again in February. In January, they collected nearly 5,000. In March, they collected 8,000. Right? And so how would we say that this firm has done for their 2020 billings? And a surprisingly high number of attorneys that we speak to would say that they've hit 100%. You didn't really, right? Because you didn't also look at your December 2019 billings. Those should also go into your mix of how much have you collected. You don't reset the clock at zero and start with your January billables at the beginning of the year. So you've actually billed 15,000, and in that example, 8,047.50, you've only collected 12,750, right? So you didn't collect 100%. You collected 85% of what was actually owed to you. That's why total realization is so important. And then let's talk briefly about data. Again, data is the new blood of business, right? It's how you make your decisions. And there's a bunch of things I think most attorneys want to understand. What's my win ratio? What's my client base look like? How many opportunities are there for me to grow? What sources of referral are generating business for me? How much repeat business am I receiving? Right? And can I justify my price points in the market and potentially to clients and ultimately to the bar. Right? And so having data that you've collected that you can then analyze, and everybody isn't a data analyst, and that's okay, right? Another opportunity to outsource would be to go to, a data analytics company and work with them to go through your body of work, your databases, and say, look at the information that I've got, help me determine where I've got areas to improve, either in data collection, and honestly, you'll never meet a data analysis firm that won't say you've got data collection improvements to make. But also, where are there opportunities to make more money? What things should I be concerned about? What is the data telling you about my practice? That's definitely enabled by having a practice management system in place that tracks your hours, it tracks where your time is being spent by matter, by client. And so, having that data infrastructure in place is going to help you make better decisions about your firm. Should you expand a certain practice area? Should you open a new office in a different city? Should you hire that new associate? All of that's hidden in your data. Getting it out so that you can see it and think about it without putting a ton of hours into trying to analyze Excel spreadsheets is probably something worth outsourcing, but depending on where your firm is in its growth curve, or if you're trying to just make more money. So thanks for joining us. Again, I'm Scott Brennan with Lexicon. We are a practice management software provider as well as a practice management services provider. We do provide the services that we spoke about today. If anybody is interested, feel free to reach out to us. As a reminder, you can also hear tips and tricks on how to better manage your law firm as a business on the Lex Factor, a Lawfully Good podcast that we release a couple times a week. And then we've got the Lex Factor Briefs, which focus on a topical news article in the legal trade press. We give you our perspective on what's happening in the business of law. It's a great way for you to just quickly stay connected with what's going on in the industry. Along the way, hopefully you're entertained, but more importantly, you're educated on matters that should matter to your law firm. We offer, again, a variety of services that seamlessly integrate into our software, which is extremely holistic. In the software, along with the time management that you would expect, we offer calendar integration, document management, trust accounting, client intake, and dashboards that help you manage your business. All of that comes in the base level. There's no need to buy additional licenses. There's no need to buy a separate document management system, email plugin. All of that is included in the Lexicon base rate. With that, thank you very much.